What's up, guys? Jared back here to show you RockMelt. This was actually recently released to the Play Store, I believe, if I'm correct, as of today. This originally came from, the iOS world, and it was a pretty big hit over there, so they've been hard at work bringing it to Android. And it isn't just a direct port of iOS, which those of us that are Android fans absolutely hate when developers do that. They've actually used the Android guidelines. So you can see we've got those slide out sort of animations and windows here. We've got the Roboto font. They're using the Android Holo UI guidelines, which is really nice to see. Now, when you first launch this application, oh, and by the way, some of you guys are probably wondering, what the hell is it? It's basically a news aggregation application, just like Flipboard or HTC's recent Blink feed. This is pretty much the same thing, different Google readers and so on. So when you first launch the application, it's going to require you to pick 5 categories in the beginning. I'm not a huge fan of that. Nevertheless, I went ahead and went through it to pick the 5. And I said, well, it's showing up all these news feeds. That's cool and all, but I don't like half of these websites, and I'm not interested in half of this crap. So you have to jump into your profiles, come down here, and you can see that it's automatically following 39 people. I think it was 40 before I removed one. And you'll notice we've got a bunch of predefined websites and news feeds that it automatically picked for me. Now, there's a whole bunch of things I'm not interested in, such as the travel channel. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in tech, Android stuff, and the like. So I'd have to go through here and start unchecking a lot of these things. Now, let's say, for instance, you wanted, Android Central. Well, that wasn't automatically in the list here, so I actually had to type it in the search queue, and that's how you actually search and add other websites that you want to follow in this particular RockMelt application. So you'd come up here, you click on search, but there's some issues I've been having. So let's say, for instance, I want to follow Android Police. A lot of us are familiar with Android Police. A lot of us love Android Police. Very great website. So I want to follow them naturally, right? So let's say, for instance, I type in here Android Police, and it populates the website there. Now, in the built-in applications tips and tricks section, it tells you how to follow websites that aren't currently listed by default by RockMelt. So you'd go to their website, and there's supposed to be a +1 button, and you click on the +1 button, and then it adds it to your feed. Well, here, for instance, Android Police is a pretty well-known, pretty well-regarded website, but there is no +1 button. And believe me, I spent about a half an hour trying to figure out how to add the Android Police RSS to my news aggregator to RockMelt, and I'm not able to. We've got a couple of icons down here at the bottom. You can go ahead and click on those little spectacles, if you will. You've got the option, though, keep it for later, flag as inappropriate, or close the web page. We also come over here to the share button. We can share it with other RockMelt users that are following me, because there is an actual, this is sort of like a social network. So, you can kind of follow your friends, and your friends can follow you, and you can stay up to date on all the content that you guys are sort of checking out and sharing, and you can basically stay on top of everything that way. We also have the share button, so you can share it with other applications. Love Android for that. And then some really strange sort of rating type buttons here. Want, blah, 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 blah. Pretty boring stuff there. But I haven't been able to figure out how to add this. Even if we were to go ahead, zoom in there, move over to menu, click on menu, and wait for that to load up. Okay, and then we click on RSS. And we move over here, and it says, pick your RSS reader. So we'll go ahead down there. Obviously, RockMelt's still new to Android, and it's not in the list here. So that was really disappointing. I'm not able to follow Android Police specifically from my RockMelt application. So that was really disappointing, though I'm hoping, since this is a new application, they will start fixing things like that in the future and adding support for more websites. That said, you've got a little R button here. You're probably wondering what we do with that. Go ahead and click on that. And you've got 3 different options here. You can click on Explore, which will then bring up a list of other things. As you can see, friends activity, like I talked about before. It's a bit of a social network type application, and some different categories that you can just check in on specifically. Click on Home, and that actually brings up the universal feed, if you will. So it'll bring in all of the content that your friends are liking and sharing and stuff like that, as well as everything else involved, everything that you watch in particular. Now we click on Popular, and this will bring up all of what's trending on RockMelt with other RockMelt users at this point in time. This is something that will be updated quite often throughout the day, probably up to the minute. So as you can see, this one's updated, posted 2 minutes ago. So that said, it's a really clean looking application. It's completely free. There are absolutely no advertisements. The developers were quite adamant about making the public aware that there are no advertisements, and it is still a free application. It's clean. but it's brand new, and as a result, there are going to be some issues such as not being able to add every single website that you want to follow. Anyways, guys, I'll be posting a link in the description below for you to go and download it and check it out for yourself. I think it's fun. I think it's a nice application at this point in time, though. I don't think it's something that I'll stick with particularly. But that's it, though. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, click that likes button down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos in the future, and you can always stay up to date on all things the Smoking Android by following me on Twitter and Google+. Those links will be located in the description below as well. That's it. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.